Alright guys, well it's been quite a busy week, so I haven't been doing much video, but I have not been idle here. I've got some stuff going, so I'll show you where I'm at. Finished off the inside walls, well 3 of them anyway. Got all that done, so now like I told you last time, we're going to be working on the fireplace. I need to get that done before I finish off this last wall. So I've got a little bit of this stuff formed and cut out, so I'll show you where I'm at here. So first, the fireplace is going to be going around this. So the first thing I did is I just took an 1/8 inch piece of plywood and cut out a form around it. So we're going to kind of work around that. And then I cut out, this is an 1.5 inch thick sheet of styrofoam, pink styrofoam. And I just cut it out. It's going to be hard to show you all this because it's pretty tall. I haven't finished forming it out yet, but this is basically going to be the chimney. And then I've hollowed out the inside where the fire is actually going to be. And then I've left a bit of a, I used my wire cutter and sliced this back down, left a bit of it jutting out so it'll go into the wall. And then here, I've cut out, you can't even see that. On the base, I've cut out a bit of the foam where this fireplace is actually going to fit in. So here, let's move that. So see, the fireplace is going to fit in right here. And then it's going to fit up against the wall. Okay, and over on this side is where our little shack is going to go. So let's see, let's get a little bit better idea here of what's going on. So we're going to have our little shack, or whatever you want to call it, over here. Now I'm a little bit short here on this side, but that's okay because I'm going to be covering this over with some planking, so we're not worried about that. And then on the inside here, you can see kind of how the fireplace fits in. It's going to go there. This is going to go up around here. Alright, and then I found some molding, a stick of molding that I really liked. It's this stuff, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this like this for either side. I haven't decided whether I'm going to put it here or put it here like this. I'm going to look because the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these the little stones that we're going to be doing the floor with, and I'm actually going to use the pinker ones because there's some in there that are kind of reddish pink. I'm going to cut them down and I'm going to use those as surround, if I can get this to stand up. My goodness. There. So it's going to go up and around here, and I'm also going to cut some really narrow to put on the inside here. So that things line up nice and they're all trimmed out. So we're going to have stone going around there. And once I get the floor laid, I'm going to build a mantle, or a, that's not the mantle. I'm not even sure exactly what you do call it, because we don't have fireplaces down here in Florida. It's too flippin' hot. But anyway, I'm going to put some stone out here. And then I'm going to figure out how to do a little mantle up here. We're going to dress up this fireplace a bit. So first, let's get these pieces glued on. Now I'm not actually going to glue in the chimney here, the fireplace, because I have to do all the brickwork and stuff and finish cutting down the top of that, because you can see the top right now goes way up there. It's not going to be near that tall. And it's also, once we get above the second floor, I'm going to bring it in a little bit and up and then cap it off. So that still needs some work, so I'm not going to glue that in. I just wanted to have it so I know how everything was fitting together. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this in and start cutting some tiles and the stone and laying that stuff in there, and then we will come back and take a look. Okay, so I was looking at cutting the stones, and I thought not going to be a problem because right here it says, if you can see that, stones cut with scissors. What they don't tell you is those scissors better be the pneumatic scissors they use to cut people out of car crashes with, because otherwise that's malarkey. These things were a giant pain. I got a couple of them cut. It took me forever. They wouldn't cut with scissors, first of all, no matter how hard I tried. And I got on top and pushed with them. So I got my Dremel out and a cutting tool, and it took a good 2 or 3 minutes just to cut this thing, and it still was breaking. So I said there is no way in the world I'm going to go through all that just for this surround. Fortunately, we don't need to panic. I said don't panic. I've got another plan. It's okay. So what I've got, I went ahead and glued this part down. Let me put you in frame here so you can see. So I've glued that down. Now this is how it's going to fit on here, but I need to dress the inside here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch balsa, and I've cut some pieces. I'm going to put them in here like this. Well, that'll stay better once I glue it, but I'm just going to put them in here like this, and I'm just going to carve them to kind of look like stone and then paint them up. Because I can tell you, I went through this with a razor knife or the razor saw lickety split, and cutting these stones was going to take an hour and a half, and there's no reason to go through all that when I can just make these look like stone. So I'm just going to carve a little bit in it and paint them up like stone and put them in there and get on with my life. So I'll do that, and then we'll be back. Alright, so here's what I'm doing. I've got these pieces of balsa that I've cut for that surround, and all I've done is I've taken my hobby knife and scored 3 of the sides around, and then just took a mechanical pencil and dug in kind of deep. So it's going to end up looking like 2 pieces of stone there, and then it'll come down like this and like this. So I used my hobby knife and just rounded the edge off a little bit, so it looks kind of like a little bit of worn stone. Now I'm going to take some gray paint. Got some just straight up gray paint here, craft paint. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to it. Why glue, do you say? Well, because I actually want this to thicken up, and I want it to try, what I'm attempting to do, if I can get my glue to come out here, is I don't want this to look like wood, so I'm trying to get rid of some of the grain. So I'm trying to make this thicker and give it a bit of a surface to hold on to. So I'm going to put some glue in there, and then I'm going to put just a touch, just a little bit of plaster of Paris in there so I can get a nice solid coat on these things. So I'm just going to put just a dabble of plaster of Paris in there, mix it up, and coat these, and then I'll just dry brush them up with some lighter grays. You guys have seen me do dry brushing before, so we'll just come back when that's done and I'll show you the finished pieces. Okay, so we got this put on. It's all tacked down. I've got these things in there. They still look a little grainy, but I think they look okay. So we're going to go with that because that's where we're at. I went ahead and finished off the trim on this wall. So that's all done now. And I got these cut down and dry brushed up to look like stone columns. So they are going to go on either side here like this. I think that's going to look pretty good. But before I actually attach those, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the spackle on the walls here. And one thing I forgot to tell you guys last time is I finally figured out on these inside walls, I actually used some painter's tape and just taped these off real good, put the spackle on, and then once it dried I was able to pull the painter's tape off, and I didn't have to worry about wiping down all the wood. It came out with a much cleaner finish on these things. I hadn't intended to do that all the way around. I was just trying to get it here because this was going to be impossible to do without that, but it worked so well that I just went and did it around the whole thing. So I'm going to do that here, and the reason I'm not going to put these columns on first is because they'll get in the way of the tape. So I'm going to go ahead and get that finished, put the columns on, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I got the walls finished. I've glued on the columns here, and the one last thing I did is made a mantle right here. So all I did was I took a craft stick and cut it down. And I took some of this strip balsa and just cut a couple of 45s out for here. And then I took a piece of this 1/8 inch square balsa and ran it through there. So this is just going to get glued on right here. Oh, then I just gave it a sepia wash real quick, so it's a little bit different color wood because I wanted some contrast in there. So this is just going to get glued on right here, and then we are done with the construction of the bottom floor. So we still have to do the outside of the fireplace, but that'll come later. I'm not going to finish that yet because we need to get this thing actually mounted onto a base. So next time when we come back, we'll be working on the base, and until then, you guys have a good one. Bye.